This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Where we want to educate you about our market, empower you to make wise decisions, and help you engage with our expert contributors. Tracy, I want to talk to you first about a couple of things.
Sure.
Escrow is that part of real estate transactions that's like that cloudy gray area behind the transaction. They know they got to do it, they just don't know why.
Exactly.
So why does it take 30 days to complete an escrow? Why does it take so long?
So basically, once you've entered into a contract between the buyer and seller, we then get that contract along with the earnest money and we open up escrow. And what does that mean? That means we go ahead and we put the files all into the computer. The property address needs to get searched and a preliminary title report gets generated. That can take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours depending on the complexity of the property. Also, the seller the name gets searced.
Right.
So if a seller's name is John Smith, let's say, you can only imagine the number of judgments and liens and things that we have to weed through to make sure that the seller isn't attached to any of those.
We want to make sure he's a good John Smith and not a bad John Smith.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Once we generate the prelim and anything on the property, that gets sent out to the parties. If they're represented by real estate agents or realtors, as they should be, the realtor gets it and reviews it. And we all know where we have to go from there. What happens too is that our escrow officer should be reviewing the prelim prior to sending it out, and might say, "Hey, be aware of exception numbers 7, 8, and 9, and these are items that need to be cleaned up or cleared before we can move forward and actually transfer the property."
The other part of buying a home, and the other part that escrow, the big role that escrow plays, is as the banker. You're collecting the funds and then you're paying out the monies. And that has to balance.
To the penny.
To the penny.
To the penny. We
can't
have...
To the percentage of a penny if necessary.
We cannot have any monies left over.
When do you check to see if there was any last-minute liens, like something that wouldn't have appeared on the original prelim?
Good question. So after you go through the process and you sign your documents, and before we get ready to record, what happens is we release the package for recording to our title department or the title officer that actually worked that transaction. Before they record that transaction, we update the prelim right then and there one last time to make sure nothing came up on it.
Mechanic liens, that could appear at the last minute. Me as a buyer, what if it closes and that it was still on there or got on there?
Well, you have to remember when you're purchasing title insurance, which is a very important item to make sure you purchase.
Yes.
It is the effective date and prior. So if again, let's just say we're closing June 3rd today, but a mechanic's lien appeared on Friday, May 31st. You're covered as a buyer for us to make sure we handle that mechanic's lien and clear it. Now, if it was recorded June 8th, let's say after the fact, then that's a whole different story because your title insurance does not cover that. And that's something that's going to then be between the new owner and the previous owner. The escrow officer coordinates the actual signings for the buyer and the seller. Once we get all of that paper back, and the lender then funds the loan and sends us the money. The buyer brings in any remaining money. And at that point, that is when we go ahead and send it down for recording. That's old term because now it's e-recorded, but we used to go down to the recorder's office.
Right.
And that's when the title checks, as we stated earlier on the show, and then it gets recorded.
This has been Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Thanks for listening. And remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDWN.